Hey everyone, my name's Walter, and we're back here once again to read some stories from Reddit. Today we're going to be covering Reddit Relationships, the place to post any problems you've been having with relationships, be they romantic or not. I might also draw upon places like relationship advice. I have no idea what the difference between the two is, honestly, but let's just begin with relationship stories from Reddit Relationships. It's possible you've heard this one, because it was making the rounds a few weeks ago. My 29 female boyfriend, 29 male, keeps getting into fights with a cook at Waffle House. I know this sounds really weird, but here it is. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. We met and started dating when we were both in graduate school, but I dropped out to go back to college to pursue a different career. We are both finished now and live together, making a fairly nice combined income. Our income is relevant because we could afford to eat somewhere nice when we're out and about, but he always wants breakfast food. When he was a child, his dad couldn't stand eating breakfast-type food in the afternoon or evenings, so his mom would make him waffles/pancakes, eggs, and bacon in the evening whenever his dad was busy or out of town. It's a wonderful and safe memory for him, and when he goes to his happy place, he says that's where he always goes. My boyfriend is an incredibly nice and caring person. He's emotionally tuned into everyone and recognizes arising issues a long time before they occur. He loves animals and is kind and gentle with every bug, bird, and pet that he comes across. He's almost always willing to turn the other cheek in social situations where somebody tries to insult him or get aggressive towards him. It usually winds up diffusing the situation and having a productive discussion about whatever the issue was. Except at Waffle House. Anytime we're out, he wants to go to the same goddamn Waffle House and get breakfast food. I'm not a big eater, so I used to not really care. I would just drink coffee and read my book while he enjoyed his food. But that became impossible once he and this one cook started chirping at each other every time we went there. Boyfriend complained about his eggs one time because he likes them a little runny and they were served hard. The cook responded by giving him scrambled eggs. When he brought it up again, the cook served him 2 hard-boiled eggs. I think it was just part of the cook's shtick, and it was kind of funny to be honest, but my boyfriend wasn't able to laugh it off. When we left, he was in kind of a bad mood, but we didn't really talk about it. The next week we were out getting some shopping done and he wanted to go to Waffle House again. I suggested that we try out a different place, or at least a different Waffle House location, but he only wanted the same Waffle House. We went in and sat down, and once again the same cook served his eggs wrong. My boyfriend sort of snapped at him that he wasn't interested in messing around and just wanted the correct eggs. The cook then served him a piece of toast with a hole cut out in the middle with a fried egg in it. My boyfriend got really mad and threw the egg toast at the cook, which made the cook come around from behind the bar and throw it back at him. They ended up sort of wrestling/fighting until my boyfriend was like, "This is bullshit," and walked out. Nobody got hurt, but the few other people in there were watching and laughing a bit. This is the crazy part. My boyfriend keeps going back and ordering eggs and getting into fistfights with the same cook. It's almost a ritual at this point. My boyfriend orders runny eggs, the cook serves him some other version of eggs, and then they beat the shit out of each other. I quit going with him after the second fight, but he kept going by himself. They're like Peter and the giant chicken from Family Guy. It's the weirdest thing. They've physically fought like 6 or 7 times over this. I've tried to talk to him about it a few times, but he keeps saying it's a matter of principle. I've told him to talk to the manager or something like that, but he just waves me off. Apparently that cook hasn't made him the correct runny eggs, but it's like he spends the week learning new ways of preparing eggs to piss my boyfriend off. The thing is, we're getting married this summer. He's accepted a job in a new city and it'll be easy for me to find work after the wedding, so we'll be moving away from his sworn enemy, Waffle House guy. He hasn't really been out since quarantine started, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the first place he goes when restaurants open back up for sitting customers. But my main worry is this strange vindictive side of him I've never seen before that leads him to fight the same guy every week. The violence itself is an issue for me, but the obsession over it almost bothers me more. Should I be worried that this side of him will come up later in our marriage? How do I get him to open up about this? Is this type of obsession a choice, or is it indicative of something deeper? There are a lot of people saying this can't be real because the cops haven't been called, but there are a lot of people in the comments telling us this is completely normal to see at a Waffle House. I honestly don't think I've ever been to one. I don't know if that's weird. But yeah, it's a really funny story, but you just know this guy's going to get arrested over this eventually. The image of him rushing out to get into a fight with the cook again after coronavirus ends is a hilarious image, and I had trouble not laughing as I narrated the whole thing. Next, we have another story about a fight. This one is a bit less funny, but it's still kind of funny. My 26 female partner, 34 male, got into a fist fight with his brother at a family gathering. My partner, who I'll call John, and I have been together for a few years now, and he's the most kind-hearted, intelligent man I have ever met. But he also struggles with PTSD. Normally, we're able to handle this. Sometimes it's night terrors, some days are just blah, but we've managed to handle everything healthily. But today, something he did concerned me. Could it have been PTSD related? Or just that he was fed up? We just celebrated purchasing a house together. Yay, and invited both of our families over. There were about 20 people milling about during dinner, including his brothers. John grew up with two brothers, one younger and one older. We'll call his younger brother Todd and his older brother Pat. Pat and John are very close. Todd and John aren't. I don't know what the differences are, but Todd rarely ever comes around, even when we invite him over. Todd wound up getting drunk tonight, against John's wishes. He doesn't drink and asked the guests not to bring alcohol. And Todd sounded off throughout dinner. John was getting noticeably irritable, and I suggested that he and I start cleaning up while everyone finished their food. John and I began cleaning, and Todd followed us out to the patio where John's grill is. John is extremely passionate about grilling. I know that sounds silly, but it's one of his hobbies, and asked Todd to be careful around his equipment. Long story short, Todd ended up getting sick on John's grill. John lost his temper and yelled at Todd, telling him to get inside, and during this, Todd made some nonsensical comment about John's prior military background. John hauled off and hit him. It caught me off guard. John is the least violent person I know. He's always able to keep his temper under control, but I tried to intervene. It went on for a few more moments until Pat rushed out and pulled John off of Todd. Pat took Todd home, and it's been a few hours since it happened. Everyone left, and now it's just John and I at home. John cleaned up his grill, asked me to give him some time to cool off, and came in to apologize a while later. I told him not to apologize to me. I asked him why he felt the need to resort to getting into a fistfight with his brother, and I've never seen him look at me with that expression before. He looked so wounded that I would ask something like that. Was I in the wrong for asking that? Should I just have let it go and pretend that it didn't happen? I'm really conflicted. What should I do now? I just want the best for him and the best for us. Sorry for the wall of text, I'm just kind of shaken up and flustered right now. Thanks all for reading. Oh, why doesn't he come over? I wouldn't go to a dry barbecue either. Thankfully, my brother agrees that alcohol's necessary. This happened on a patio, though. It's so easy to just puke off the side instead of all over the one thing he said to be careful of. And I get pretty wasted, so I feel like this guy might have done it on purpose. It's probably acceptable to punch someone for this. Speaking of things you should be punched for, check out this next story from Am I the Asshole? Reminds me of Lucas. Am I the asshole for writing a poem to a girl? This happened 2 years ago. I have a soft spot for Asian women, and while I wasn't a student at the university near my apartment, I could get an hour-long guest pass at one of their computers. Well, for about a month or so, the librarian that handled giving out guest passes was this drop-dead gorgeous Asian girl. She had thick raven hair, the prettiest smile, the perfectly shaped face, and the most beautiful eyes I had ever seen. I took care of business and just simply asked for my pass, but as the weeks went by, I started complimenting on how beautiful she was. She smiled and thanked me. Then one morning, I decided to work my writing magic. My parents say my poetry is amazing, so before going to the university library, I decided to write a special poem that I'd give to her. I don't have it on me, you'll find out why later, but I hand wrote it. I included lines like, "I never believed in love at first sight till I saw your beautiful face." I was very proud of it and intended for it to be a conversation starter. I walked to the library, and she was working admission front desk this time. I gave her my state ID so she'd let me in, then I told her I had a present for her and gave her the poem I folded up. I smiled to her, got my pass, and later left. I didn't see her again for another week, but the next time I saw her, I smiled politely and asked her if she liked what I wrote to her. To my slight dismay, she hadn't even read it, but I shrugged it off and got another guest pass. So I'm sitting down watching a few YouTube videos when all of a sudden there's a tap on my shoulder as a voice asked, "Mr. Jarrett Smith?" I turned to see, to my surprise, a cop. I was confused. Did I do something wrong? We go into a slight talking, and I keep asking what I did, and he finally tells me that the librarian called them because I scared her with my poem. What the fuck? I was shocked. Yeah, you were shocked. He told me she contacted them suspecting there could be terrorist or threatening messages in the little folded up piece of paper and for them to read it. Even though the cops assured her there was nothing wrong with it, she insisted on them filing a year-long suspension from the library for me. I got a year-long suspension just for writing a poem to a girl, and they didn't even give it back to me. Everyone from my parents, my friends, and even my teachers, I go to a separate college than the one near my apartment, say that's the most ridiculous thing they ever heard, but am I the asshole for writing a sweet love poem to a girl? I guess I'm wondering if she read it or not. It doesn't really matter though. You probably shouldn't be giving love poems to someone you basically never interacted with. I mostly come out of this story wishing I could see the poem. It really sounds like something special, and I hope it mentioned her being Asian repeatedly. It probably did though. Good lord, it comes up in the comments that this was edited and it called her Oriental instead of Asian originally, which he defends here of course. First of all, I say Oriental only because I personally think it's a prettier word than Asian. How is that racist? Second, again, she didn't even read it. She gave it to the cops, asking them to inspect it for terroristic threats, and even when they assured her there weren't any, she still had me banned. Lastly, I didn't expect anything out of this. I wrote that poem only to be nice, and she could have simply refused to take it. As hard as this may be for feminist extremists to accept that I can take no for an answer, I've been taking it all my life. I'm almost 32 and I'm still a virgin. The 32-year-old virgin detail makes me wonder about the validity. However, the author's old posts are mostly in subreddits like Disney conspiracies and Star Wars conspiracies. Well, let me know what you think about it in the comments, but that is about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you have something to say, let me know. I do read the comments. If you're new here and want more, please subscribe because we will be hitting 10,000 subscribers again soon here, so I'll have to do something special. I feel like maybe it should be a stream, honestly. Thanks also to my awesome patrons. Let's do that now. Levon, Chris Sturman, Invader Jill, Hugo Hedden, Elvis Needs Boats Bennett, Cho, Shay Parker, Mary Vinorsky, Luis Orozco, Spoonie the Rogue, Hunter Malcolm, Amanda Gillies, Chocobo Asylum, Jacob K, who is new I think, Camper Supreme, Rissa Demore, Knit1 Code 2, Roy, Lil Spoon, Mason Alessander, Ms. Mayhem, Regrettable Stitches, and Esperova. Thank you all so much. It's not easy not cooperating with YouTube all the time. I might actually be covering Cake Puncher again soon. I have enough material and he's still out there being an asshole. Let me know if you want more. Have a great day, everyone, and is it normal for a cook to have a shtick where he just messes up your order on purpose? Most people would probably just stop going there, right?